Hi, and welcome to Tech Talks, the People and Planet podcast. My name is Lee. I'm the founder of the Tech Network, and today I'm joined by Raz Peleg, VP of Sales for Thermal Imaging Technology Business, ADASKY. Raz, hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Happy to be here.
Perfect. Thanks for joining. Can you talk our listeners through your products and the problem that ADASKY is addressing with the mission?
Yes. We are all enjoying vehicles as drivers or as passengers. Lately, we're enjoying an increased safety by having systems that mitigate accidents.
Mm-hmm.
They are mainly sorry, I'm looking aside because I'm going to show my product in a second. They are mainly using radars and daytime cameras to understand the situation in front of the vehicle. And when the situation with the strength of an AI coupled is understood as an imminent accident, it will activate the brakes or it will reduce the speed, etc., etc. We all know that, and we're happy to have that. We somehow, as customers, and for some reason, the industry and the regulators did not push the extra mile to have that same performance at nighttime and harsh weather and glare. And we as drivers know that those cases appear. Maybe somebody of our listeners or watchers here of this interview have every afternoon a sundown challenge, driving, being blinded, and having hard time to understand the situation. Now, the thing is that the systems in the vehicle have the same problem because they're using a daytime camera. Here comes ADASKY with a very known technology, thermal imaging, using thermal energy that is coming from every object in the world. It's used for years by defense, aviation, even people that have rich homing and houses. They're using a thermal camera because burglars are using usually the night to come unnoticed. And those cameras seek heat and they understand the situation even at night, even in harsh weather. And because they don't see light, they're never glared. So I'm holding in my hand the smallest thermal camera, which was reinvented by ADASKY for automotive, with automotive standards, etc. Once this will be in vehicles, and this is less than 2 years from our interview now, they will enhance the systems and the awareness of drivers, even at nighttime, even in the winter, to have an improved safety.
Unbelievable. Okay, so it's technology that we've seen for many years in different applications applied specifically to the automotive industry to effectively save lives, right?
So in the automotive industry, for high edge vehicles, thermal cameras were already installed. They were kind of nice to have. And we're practically now feeling the wake up of the regulators, consumer reports, regulatory bodies like AAA, NHTSA, etc., stating NCAP that this is going to be a must-have. Must-have means that nighttime performance, especially for pedestrians. Let me give a fact which maybe is unnoticed. Having all those systems, one would imagine, okay, probably accidents will be reduced. But still, unfortunately, the global number is more than 1 million, 1.3 million people are dying from accidents annually. And there is a big rise in pedestrian death toll. And that is because vehicles have become designed more SUV. So a pedestrian, even hit, cannot roll off the roof and still stay alive. Pedestrians are using more earphones and listening to music, but still they don't deserve to die for that. And if with all the technology, all the AI, there is a rise in death toll of pedestrians, and there is a technology that can help, let's put one and one together. And this is exactly what we're doing in ADASKY.
Great stuff. Thanks for sharing that. So the business then was founded in 2016. You're at about 80 heads now. I'm assuming it's not been a smooth process. There's usually been some challenges across the way. Can you just share with our listeners what challenges you've had to overcome to get here?
Yeah, so being a startup, which is we're pretty much almost an early growth company now. We have our first customer, a global OEM from the US, Detroit area. We have a tier one investing in us just lately, Gentex Corporation. So this is the cherry on the pie, but yes, you're right. The way wasn't that easy. You start up with an idea, you start up with your first investors, and there are times where money in the bucket and the salaries and the future is not that smooth.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have our first investors, our Kyocera company from Japan, which is a very strong investor. And with them joined also to about 2 years after foundation, Sangwoo High-Tech, which is a Korean supplier also for automotive. And practically, we were believing that they will not let our ship sink. Now, COVID-19 was our biggest challenge, like everybody else.
Sure.
And with a great sense of, I would say, belief in us, those two investors have put extra money in the bucket, even when they themselves closed plants. As everybody remembers, that the big companies shut down some of their activity, they let us stay. We needed to make some actions. We needed to reduce activity. So overall, the challenges are keeping good people with you. Mm-hmm. We're not based in Tel Aviv. We're based in the edge of Israel, and young engineers like to be in the vibrant city of Tel Aviv. But luckily, we are very blessed to have a strong team that stays with us. And COVID-19 days are over. And the last challenge we had was the need to have an extra investment round. And it took us about, I would say, more than a year. And the last year was a very unstable and uneasy year. There was suspicious about risk and opportunity in automotive. There were many hypes of autonomy and LiDAR and the future, mm-hmm. and they were not as much realized. There was the SPAC era, which responsibly we decided not to use and not to enter this court. And I'm talking to you now after we were completing our round, led by Gentex Corporation. So it's a great sign, even in this hard time. Not only us see the potential and see the future, but a very respected company, and together with them, the future looks brighter.
Yeah, sounds great. It's nice to know that they have like the full backing and full belief in the business and in the people that work there, I suppose. My next question is around competition and maintaining the competitive edge. Of course, your technology has got to be at the forefront of all of your ideas. What approach do you have to R&D and to maintain that competitive edge?
So basically, we are an R&D company. When I'm saying 80 people, 60 are engineers, something like that.
Really?
So it's not that we plan to manufacture global demand. We will work with the tier ones and with Gentex, etc. We are mainly developing to keep our competitive edge. In this little camera, there is a chip. the first investment of $20 million, we took half of it to print our first chip with ST Microelectronics, by the way, the same ones who did it with Mobileye Company, which from a startup became a global success story. I was working there 10 years. They became public, and then they became Intel, and now they're public again. A great story, all based on very strong AI in a chip.
Okay.
We did that, and this what brings the performance of our camera and the competitive edge to a place where our competitors have not reached yet. We assume they are working to fill in the gap, and we are working on our next generation of technology, next tape out, next version. This is what we do mainly.
And can you share when that next version might be available?
So I prefer not to state a date because I see Lynn sign recording has started. So somebody will come say, hey, you're 1 month late. But this is confidential information, which I don't want to share. I can say that currently the camera that will go on the road on 2025 with our first customer is still enjoying many years. We're only 7 years old, but several years of proven performance, whereas the competitors are still promising something which is still, I don't know in what stage of development, but nobody else has a camera with a chip inside. And this chip allows the camera to be solid state. This means I will not go now too much talking about thermal cameras, but thermal cameras, they seek heat. They understand the reality from understanding temperature differences and reflectivity of objects, but they are also an electronic device, which means they have internal heat, which creates noise in the picture. Other competitors need to use a shutter. It's something that closes and makes the camera understand between internal noise and outside reality. We are able to do that without this moving part, which of course allows constant operation, better safety performance, and reliability. The OEMs don't like moving parts that can get stuck one day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, you touched on this throughout the episode a little bit, but you know, how just give us some real life examples of really where these could benefit people. Like I say, you've touched on it a little bit, but if you could just expand for a little bit more, that'd be great.
Let me talk, or let me answer that as a driver, as a parent, as a pedestrian. We listeners and both of us pretty much accept the fact that we might have a minor accident in our history as drivers. We don't want it. We're trying not to have it. But if there will be a little hit, we will accept it. But we gave an oath, no matter what religion, that we will never hit a pedestrian. This is pretty much an oath we took. Now, this camera, the best thing it does is to detect pedestrians, living objects. We're not an object. We're living soul, warm-blooded. And if we are warmer than the environment, than the cars behind us, than the air around us, why not use a device which understands that best? We're not a shape. Daytime cameras and AI are using the shape. Radars are using reflectivity. LiDARs are using reflectivity. They're all good, but they need a very strong AI to understand what they see. For the fact that thermal energy is so different than anything else, if we see just a head or shoulders between two vehicles, we immediately understand it's a pedestrian. And no other technology can do that. Let me give you another example. In the US only, there's 1 million deer hits annually. 1 million.
It's a crazy stat.
We see and understand deers on the road far away from the headlights, even in blizzard. And why hit the poor deers and why experience an accident? Let's eliminate 1 million accidents. You want an example? I gave you 2 examples.
Such a crazy stat. Raz, lastly, how do you see that the future of this industry, the future of thermal imaging technology evolving? And what role does ADASKY play in that future?
So we're pretty much the new kid in town. The market was being controlled by a FLIR company, Pioneer company that were selling high-priced cameras to some of the OEMs, but it never lifted off. Now, we as drivers, we have already automatic braking for several years, adaptive cruise control, and as we accept, like in any other device that we have for improvement, we will expect improvements. Now, the regulator as well is demanding improvements. And it has been declared in the US that within 2 years, automatic braking needs to be formalized for a better performance. And NHTSA went to the public and to the industry and said, what can we do better? And OEMs, it's public information that I'm giving you. OEMs like GM and like Tesla said thermal cameras, they should be looked at. And you know already that I told you that we have our first customer. So it's happening. How fast? I don't know. But it's not something like a dream of autonomy. It's an extra device, fairly priced, that can be embedded in the smallest car, like automatic braking becomes today or is already a standard in any new car. So night will not be anymore addressed as an edge case, and winter as well, because they happen every 24 hours and every year.
Yeah.
And we are to play a significant role here. And why is that? For our innovation, for our backup nowadays with Gentex, which are a supplier of most of the OEMs worldwide with their technology. And they will help us not only with their connections, but with their technological standards for mass production. So definitely the future is brighter than it was yesterday.
Sounds unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming on. That's all we've got time for. And guys, if you've enjoyed listening, stay up to date with the thought leaders that are building products that are helping people and the planet, then be sure to drop our page a follow at thetechnetwork.io, and we'll see you next time on the People and Planet podcast. I've been Lee. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.